Welcome everybody to the 9T Grand Finals Best of 7. Empyrean versus 9Thieves. We're here with my buddy on the other side of the desk, Priv8Dancer, as well as myself, G the Aiko. It's going to be a great day, and I can't wait to see what comes out of these two teams. A lot of you guys I kind of have peeped at in the comments. You guys were asking what's kind of going on with this tournament, who these tournaments are. Most of it's from my side of things. I'm sure Private has some input as well, but this is a community tournament that has been going on in the background. That is just kind of been there, right? We've seen it streamed on MoonPie's YouTube. It's kind of been around there, but I kind of introduced myself here to kind of bring the production at a little bit of a higher level here and bring a lot more to this tournament. This is the grand finals. Private, are you ready?
Yeah, I am so excited about this. And the North America community is nothing if not the combined efforts of a lot of the community members making tournaments like this, making leagues and stuff like that for the community so that our pro league can kind of get raised even higher. And that's what we're doing here, is have a great opportunity provided by 9T here at the grand finals. Going to be 9Thieves taking on Empyrean.
Yeah, and I mean, it's going to be insane as we're coming to the grand finals. So of course, maybe you guys haven't heard of these teams. We can kind of bring you up to date on some of these teams. They're again teams that have participated in the NACT and have made it to not the top 8, but they definitely have been in the top 96, 98, whatever they do in the NACT and the qualifiers. You guys have seen us stream it as well, but definitely look out for them. They have some insane players on there, and I mean, of course, this tournament's it's ran out for quite a bit. So again, they've made it this far, so they have a reputation to uphold as well. If I'm not mistaken, that we have seen that 9Thieves lost to Empyrean, so this is like a redemption match for 9T here against EMP. So I want to see that go. We're gonna be diving into that match here, though, Private. Let's go ahead and get in there.
I was just about to bring that up too. They have met already in the NACT, and Empyrean holds a victory over 9Thieves here. So they are looking for a little bit of revenge here. Blue side going to be on Empyrean, so they're going to be able to get that first pick. But, you know, it's always hard to tell of which one is the better outfit here. Do you want the first pick, or are you going to allow the enemy team to get that counter, which is those 2 picks immediately after, as we go straight into the first part of these bans? And it looks like we're going to go ahead and focus on that XP lane.
Yeah, I mean, focusing on the EXP lane's definitely where it's at right now. And the first ban, of course, Uranus, right? An insane EXP that we've seen dominate teams in the EXP lane, not only in the NACT, but in multiple tournaments overseas as well. So seeing that get banned out, EMP's definitely anticipating some of the heavier picks in the EXP, and you know, targeting that right now. Private is where they are going. Now going next, we already see the Melissa band. They're targeting marksmans on the red side. So you know, marksman targeting a little bit in the early is a little wild. Targeting the Melissa is also something interesting. That kind of goes to show that maybe there's someone on EMP that actually utilizes the Melissa at a higher tier than what we're normally seeing.
Yeah, those were going to be my thoughts there, especially when you focus on a marksman so early in the game. And usually you kind of can leave that. So you see most teams like leave that towards the end after the second ban phase, because you don't want them to get countered out there. Obviously something on the side of EMP that 9Thieves is wary of and don't want to see that Melissa. We're still going to go ahead, focus on a potentially, I want to say, a flex pick there where you have the X-Borg that can play the XP lane, that can play the jungle, and both of those lanes actually really well. It's really interesting to see that that's getting focused down right here. We still, especially in the XP lane, still have Terizla out there, still have some mages where a lot of teams usually put their early bans into. So it's going to be very interesting to see where both of these teams go. We do see that Kadita is going to be taken out there. A lot of burst on her, a lot of early game pressure that she can provide during these teams. So that's a good ban in my book. But like I said, even that Melissa in the right hands can be a decent ban, just depending on what EMP has in store for it.
Yeah, again, this is something we see in North America a lot too, right? Private, the Xborg. I enjoy seeing the Xborg ban, but a lot of people are like, you know, why is that a possibility here? And again, North America has just had this standard of utilizing this Xborg in the jungle, 14. Utilizing it in the EXP, and I feel like that is their stepping stone of, you know, building something for their EXP. Picking up a Fredrin right into the Gecko right now. This could be flexed into the jungle or into the EXP. So that is something that 9T has to anticipate here, right? They have to look at this Fredrin. Is this the jungle? Is this the EXP?
Heck, we've even seen it in the mid.
Oh,
Who played Fredrin in the mid in ACT? So, I mean, it can basically go anywhere now. And then you still got the tank rolls. You can go there. 9Thieves quickly scooping up the Beatrix as well. A very interesting point that you brought up that with the Xborg being banned out, though, because it does, I want to say, like, they're banning out heroes that can kind of cripple that tanky front line that Fredrin possesses. He can go, especially with Xborg, can get into that true damage after you get enough stacks on there. And a good scoop up by 9Thieves. They're going to go ahead and pick up that Kaja. They've got a very nice little yoink that they can pull out on to EMP. But I want to say, in North America, Kaja has a little bit of problems finding those opportunities, those windows to get in without like actually putting himself in harm's way. Yeah,
that is true. And I mean, we're also seeing some pretty key picks coming out here. The Kaja, definitely a key playmaker for 9Thieves at this point, right? And then also pairing the Beatrix. The Beatrix is probably one of the most flexible gold lanes that we've seen. They can go against any gold lane and actually play a key role into the team's perspective on what they want to do with that gold lane. So I like it. Picking up the Terizla, utilizing the ultimate to dive into the back line. That penalty zone can be a penalty for the other team for sure. So I want to see what they can do with that. This is a little bit different though, Private, right? Picking up the Farja, definitely something we normally don't see in some of the higher tier tournaments in the NACT. So seeing that come into play for 9Thieves, I want to see how they utilize that. Farja needs a really strong front line to not allow the enemy team to be able to dive in there and capitalize on taking her out or even interrupting her when she's using that feathered airstrike. So, I mean, the Terizla is definitely a great counter to dive in there and get that Farja. So I feel like 9Thieves, just on what we're seeing right now alone, is going to have a little bit of a hard time.
Come on, well, I mean, I want to say, if we're going to go ahead and play devil's advocate, that might speak for 9Thieves' confidence in their team there. With this type of setup, what I'm seeing right now is you're going to need to have a pretty big spread on the map right now. You're going to need to be able to leave room for the Kaja to come in there and get that divine judgment while still keeping it away from Farza, who has to be in the back line raining down damage, which I want to say is almost kind of like a little bit of a kiting composition that you're looking at, which isn't terrible when you're looking at a very heavy front line. You're going to want to get them to chase you. You're going to want to try to split them up or get them into a narrow field line. But I do want to say, as far as compositions go and the execution, right now, a very solid plan here by EMP. You have that solid front line with Terizla and Fredrin, and then a global heal from Florin, who has gone from one of the worst supports to probably one of the best picked, at least in North America, as far as the amount of healing she can do. And then the fact that it's global. She doesn't even need to be around you to be able to do that.
Right. That is true. I mean, having those types of supports on the play, again, it's very situational, and you have to know when to utilize some of those ultimates, right, to have that widespread heal. It can definitely play a factor, and you can already see they're banning on EMP. They're banning out a lot of those assassins that can punish a support roam like that, right? And again, it might be a wild approach, but maybe they even throw Florin in the mid lane. I don't think they will do that, but again, they're so flexible right now in EMP that they could pull out something like that.
It's really interesting because one of the big counters for that tanky front line or for like a tanky jungler is usually those assassins that can get around the map very quickly. Ling, Lancelot, who can get in there, doesn't have to take damage, gets in by the turtle, gets a retry, and gets himself back out to safety. Other heroes like that, you have Fanny, Hayabusa. It does look like, though, we're going to go ahead, pick up Paquito here. And that's a very funny thing to me, too, here, is that we don't have a single Fanny ban out there. So maybe both teams know that neither one actually plays a Fanny to that type of degree. And then we're seeing a shades of like old school meta dancing along the lines of a Granger jungle here on the side of EMP. It looks like they're going to go ahead and lock that in.
I mean, I like it. I like the approach, right? I mean, if they don't go with a typical gold lane, like we're kind of seeing hesitant right here, they can still run that again. They went with it. So the Harith in the gold lane, the Granger in the jungle, it's a good go. It's an interesting go, right? Instead of the gold being a marksman, put it in the jungle instead. Go mage into that gold lane, but I kind of like where 9Thieves leaning. Do they dive far into the backline? Do they want to get that backline penetration to dive in and get the floor? And they don't have too much backline peel, so I do think that's why they're vetting for the Yuzong, bouncing back and forth. But again, I do think they need some tankiness. They opt to go with the glue. So I like both teams' setup. They're definitely strategically thinking at this point, and I can't wait to see what they do here, Private.
Yeah, so on one hand, on the side of EMP, you're looking at kind of a frontline kind of dive comp. You're going to be looking to initiate with that penalty zone from Tarizla. Fredrin can kind of get in there as well, get a lot of CC on there, which is actually a huge problem for Paquito, depending on when he decides to engage. And on the side of 9Thieves, you're looking for that kind of surprise, Franco-esque pick and kind of like destroy down. But I mean, you have to land those picks onto the right target. And in a perfect scenario versus a perfect scenario, you're looking at either a Fredrin or Tarizla taking up that front line. So it's really going to be on Basti, on this Kaja, to be able to kind of find those right opportunities, those right windows for his team to succeed.
No, exactly. And I mean, we're going to be diving into this round here. 9Thieves versus Empyrean, round one here. And man, again, just to kind of build off of what you were thinking here, right? The Granger in the gold lane. EMP is going to have that front line. They have a lot of people that they do have to protect. So I really want to see how they bring that onto the playing field here in the Land of Dawn. In game one, I feel like this is where the scale is teetered, right? Like, how is the morale via both teams going to be? And it comes down to who's going to do what here. And we already see conflict.
Yeah, conflict there with Koha and Asan there going ahead. That's going to be a great team, especially when it comes to like the invading. Jeff's actually going to go ahead and put some damage on Asan. They're looking for this Litho Wanderer. Looks like they're actually going to be able to claim it. But right now, I do feel like the jungling, the gold starting to be on the more side of EMP here. And that's not what you want for a Granger. You want to be able to upset him early. You want to be able to kind of upset that flow of gold and kind of stop him. Because once he gets to that mid game, he's going to be chunking your team down.
Yeah, again, and I think that's why EMP is invading so hard. They don't want to allow 9Thieves to rotate and kind of get into that genre to be able to stop the marksman from grinding in the jungle, right? That's what happens with Grangers, that normally teams will opt to go for more aggression and just charge the Granger at that point, right? So Ken would have a lot of problem if the team opts to go that route, right? So we'll have to see. But down here in the bot,
yeah, a little bit of engagement. Going to be able to find a kill onto Jen there. Nothing to answer it with up at top. 5 seconds left on a turtle. Great engagement for 9Thieves here in the early game.
Definitely great engage. Again, getting the first kill onto 9Thieves is such a great first step for a team to deal with, right? I mean, they've already got the gold lead, and now we're going to be leaning into a turtle take here, maybe even in a gauge.
Yeah, 10% left on there. Jeff actually able to get the retribution onto it. Feathered airstrike coming down, not able to find a target. You can see the split. Biomighton is able to find it, but a dash puts him into harm's way. Is the team going to be able to recover here? Great body blocking there by Basti to help secure Enlightened One and escape. That is another kill for the side of 9Thieves.
9Thieves is on a roll at this point, right? I mean, securing the turtle, being able to get 2 kills over EMP. They look like they really want this revenge match. And again, if you guys didn't know, EMP has taken out 9Thieves before into the tournament, and this is their time to show that they are here to win it all. So I really want to see what they can bring out here. Now, going from the side of EMP, we're going to have to see them turn these tides around, right? Again, it's going to be a little bit harder for them to execute anything into the early game because they really don't have a solid tank, right? They're going more of the support route. So I feel like they just have to stand with San, right? Always follow the flooring around, utilize it to your ability, farm up, and then we might see some type of comeback. Again, it's only 3 minutes in. All they have to do is change the kill tide around and maybe secure another turtle to change things here, Private.
Yeah, we have 2 at the top. We have a little bit of engagement at the bottom. You can see down there that Gen actually in a little bit of trouble, does use that penalty zone. Is he going to be able to get away? Look at all that health regen. Not even the split able to latch onto him. 2 minions here. In comes Jeff. Are they going to be able to find the kill? They are not. A little bit of a failed gank there. Gen going to be able to walk away and still not take too much damage onto this tower.
Man, and he's still staying there, low HP. I wonder if they're going to opt to maybe go for that again. Oh, man. I mean, we can see that 9T really are throwing everything that they can at the XP, but another engage.
Yeah, you see Jeff coming in there. We do have a divine judgment lands. Ken in trouble here. Feathered airstrike plus Jeff able to get the finishing and finishing blow onto it. A big penalty zone lands onto 3 members of 9T. Basti in trouble. Gonna get taken out alongside the jungler. Basti is down as well. And Lightning One looking to lock on to Ricky, but he's not gonna be able to find the target. And Lightning One actually in a bad way, in the deep into enemy lines there, is gonna be able to find him in escape. And just kidding, he's taunted. Coming back a bit, is going to be able to get away. Still nobody on this turtle just yet, but a great secure and a great, I want to say, little pick up there from EMP. We're still on it halfway through. Enlightened One's charging up through the front. Big stun, followed by the feathered airstrike. Not able to claim a kill just yet. In comes the penalty zone. Jeff gets taken out again by Ken. Basti on his way out as well. They're looking for an escape towards their mid tower. Now we have flipped this. It is tied 3-3. Empyrean showing signs of life.
Man, if EMP can continue to keep the Charizza living with 1 HP, I definitely think they can turn some tides here. And again, I mean, now it's 3-3. The gold lead's definitely into their favor. 9Thieves, they got to kind of watch out on their placements here, right? Like, they're overextending just a little bit too much onto some of the turtles where they could have, took a little bit more of a tactile approach and, took it that way. And again, the Divine Judgment was well placed here by Basti. So again, they just got to play a little bit patient, make some of the key plays. A conceal play onto what though?
Yeah, conceal play. They're looking for Ricky. They're not going to be able to find it. And when you're looking at 9Thieves composition, just as I say that, they might be actually entering the wrong bush. Are going to be able to find an escape. Feather airstrike supporting a little bit of an engage there. San able to get out of harm's way, luckily for him. But what I was about to say is that 9Thieves, wow, a beautiful snipe shot there from Anog. Finishes the job there, gives them a lead of 4 kills to 3.
And they're still going.
Yeah, Zaman Force has been activated, but it is not going to be able to save him from 9Thieves, who go ahead and claim themselves a turret as well.
My God, man. When 9Thieves is up, they're down, and then they're up once again. That snipe by the Beatrix definitely turning some tides here, and they are doing a lot of damage. Kind of looking at them, right? They're 2-0-0. Again, they're just putting a lot of damage.
Ooh, Kaha. And this is what 9Thieves want to do. They want to isolate, and then they want to gank. These team fights, these objective fights only favor Empyrean. What you want to do is put the enemy at a disadvantage before these objectives even start. And this is where you're going to shine if you're 9Thieves. It's just that they need to finish this early, because as you get later and later, as the laning phase ends, that's when these big team fights come in, and that's where it's going to most favor Empyrean.
exactly. And I mean, we can already see lane swaps happening, right? And one thing that I do think Empyrean has to lean on is that they have to walk and play on Jhin, right? Being able to have that backlane presence is going to be a key factor for EPM or EMP, my bad here, onto this onto their plays, right? Like they're going to have to utilize that. But look, a taunt.
Yeah, you see Jeff is going to be, gets taken out by the Death Sonata from Ken. Down at the bottom, they're still looking to put some pressure on, but don't have the actual minions to support it. And just a little bit of a hesitant, and that's a problem for 9Thieves when you really want to be capitalizing on this early game, and especially to take advantage of what a pick like Paquito can offer you. Down here at the mid, we have minions coming in there. Feathered Airstrike going to go ahead. Oh, a big penalty zone comes in, claims too. Is there going to be enough? Basti goes down while Anak trying to put on the damage. Nobody taken down for the sides of Empyreans there, so they claim a kill and are able to get out.
Yeah, you got to give it up to Anak at this point, right? Like the Spitfire there of the Nibiru's passion, just it kept them at bay. Though the penalty zone was such a great play by the 9Thieves, they just weren't able, I mean by EMP, they weren't able to utilize that penalty zone to the fullest because of the pushback of Anak at this point. So we got to keep seeing that. If EMP wants to do anything at this point, they need to focus the MM on the 9Thieves.
Yeah, we can see that this purple buff, Enlightened One's doing his job there, trying to provide himself a little bit of a nuisance. Four members for 9Thieves on the opposite side of the map. They're in good position to be able to take this Lord, while Enlightened One doesn't even care. He's in between three members of Empyrean right now, trying to distract them. Is it going to be enough? It is, as 9Thieves claim the first Lord.
Definitely. First Lord now going to 9Thieves. That is a great stepping stone for them, and I want to see how they utilize it, right? A lot of Empyrean is still alive, so they could keep the Lord at bay. They just have to know they gotta be patient. They have the marksman, they have a lot of the damage, and we need to see some key plays played. It conceal play.
Oh, Divine Judgment locks on. Sand goes down. They are looking for another tower here at mid as Lord is pushing up at top. Four members now starting to rotate. Looks like they're going to actually be able to get another tower. Already a great push for this first non-luminous Lord. Big penalty zone comes in there, grabs onto two members of 9Thieves. You can see Enlightened One. He locks on. He gets Jen, puts him back into his team, and Anak puts the finishing blow. And he's actually gonna have to get out of here. He's very, very low, but not before landing a sniper shot onto Ken, just to let him know he is there. That's gonna be the third tower for this push for the side of 9Thieves. They are hungry. It is left to only high grounds for the side of Empyreans.
They are hungry, and they are acting like savage beasts at this point, right? They're not giving EMP any breathing room, and they're just being so aggressive, and they know they can be so aggressive because they're dealing with a utility in the roam. And I feel like that is something that 9T is looking at. They knew that they were going to be dealing with a support, so what do we use to stop EMP? Be aggressive, and snipes a Lord. Look at the patience here, looking for key targets, and they did hit it.
Yeah, I mean, it was on the Fredrin, so I guess he's just like, I guess I'll hit something.
Yeah.
But I mean, you can see the patience of him there, kind of sitting. Jen's gonna go ahead, throw out an ability, looking to kind of land onto somebody, but wisely. I like that 9Thieves is taking their time. They're all going to go ahead and disengage. Meanwhile, as I say that, Enlightened One's just here being a nuisance to the team. And also, they're doing such a great job. And while they disengage, they still set up in a great defensive position around this Lord pit.
Yeah, and I mean, if there's one thing that you have to know about MLBB, right, is it's almost like chess. You have to have that position. You got to zone out the map, and 9Thieves doing it so well. They really want this next Lord. If, conceal play, I don't know if it's going to amount to anything because it does look like EMP has seen the conceal play. Uh-oh, flicker!
Oh, just as you say that, Divine Judgment does land. Ricky gets taken down. And now Anik finds another kill onto Koha, and Jeff finds one onto Jen. That is 3 kills right now for the side of 9Thieves, unanswered right before this Lord comes up.
I gotta say, 9Thieves is definitely the most aggressive team, but both teams, they're not giving up, right? Like, they're both throwing, you know, blows left and right, but you got to give it up to 9Thieves. They've got a really good go here. Only one on the Lord. They're going to utilize this time to push.
Yeah, not just that, they have a full minion wave there, so they're going to be able to take down this mid-high ground with no issue. The entire team split up there while you have your jungler taking the Lord. I love the split there from 9Thieves showing... Oh, and another Divine Judgment lands on the Koha. Is he going to be in trouble? Lands a taunt. Meanwhile, you see the split onto the backline of Empyrean's. Damage trying to come out. He pulls that back. Zaman Force has been laid down, and Light One actually going deep into enemy lines. He might be in a bad way here. He's going to try to get out. Feathered Airstrike doing a great job of securing his escape, and now you have a Lord crashing at your core, swinging away. Jimmy punished. You have a penalty zone, lands onto the back line. Anik finds a kill. Ken finds a kill onto the marksman, but that's all she wrote for the core. First victory going to 9Thieves.
I mean, we got to give it up to 9Thieves, right? Securing the first victory, and they were so aggressive. I love their approach, how they took it, the Beatrix, the snipes. There were so many key plays made by Anok there on this Beatrix. So I think that MVP is definitely well-deserved. Again, I kind of was thinking that the Farja on Jans was going to be a problem, you know, like a problem pick, but they executed, like you said, really well. So a great game by both teams, and congrats to 9Thieves getting that first win.
Yeah, a little bit of a revenge there for 9Thieves. They're going to get this first win, but that's not all it's about. And yeah, like you said, I do like that it was a difficult plan, but well executed by the side of 9Thieves, where you had Jans on the Farja far enough away from a lot of these fights to be able to still provide that suppressive fire raining down onto Empyreans. And I want to say, I mean, it was a good plan in theory by Empyreans, but if you never make it out of that laning phase, which absolutely 9Thieves absolutely shined in the laning phase, a little bit of trouble trying to take down the XP lane. I noticed that like there was constantly 3 people down there against Terizla. Now another team might make them pay for that by focusing more on a lane that wasn't actually supported. But I mean, they were still able to kind of pull through there as well. And it's going to be maybe back to the drawing boards for Empyrean. So maybe if you're going to have a composition, you can't just solely focus on where that composition shines. You have to be knowledgeable of where it doesn't shine and be able to carry it to a point in the game where you want.
Yeah, exactly. And again, I got 9Thieves just executed it very well. They understood that their draft was built around being a little bit more aggressive than normal, and Empyrean kind of just pushed back against that wall. They knew that they had to farm up just because they did have, right? Like they had a marksman in the jungle. So it takes a little bit of time to get ready and get to that point. But again, they were so well positioned around the map, you know, laning off, cutting off. The Kaja seemed to be a problem for Empyrean as well. The conceal plays and the divine judgments that did come out played key factors into feeding 9Thieves and marksman at that point. So I want to see what Empyrean has in their pocket to maybe turn these things around.
Well, yeah, and that's what I mean by kind of playing to your strengths. If you've got a composition that really shines on those team fights, you need to make sure that your rotations are protected, that you've got vision, that you're not going out somewhere that you don't need to be getting unnecessarily caught, especially against the divine judgment, which is where, like I said, they shine. You grab somebody in there. As soon as that person gets taken down, you've already basically given 9Thieves the advantage that they wanted, and you've already taken away a little bit of yours. You can have as thick of a front line as you want, but if your damage dealer, your main damage dealer, has already gotten taken out, then you're going to have some issues there. And I do like the preemptive bans onto some of these heroes too, like Melissa, which Kaja might have struggled a little against, trying to get and close the distance, especially with that go away and a little bit of a dash there for them to be able to use there. So very interesting, and a great draft and playthrough from 9Thieves.
Yeah, I mean, they executed it very well. I do like your take. You know, the bans and picks, I definitely felt like were the foreground, you know, of this match, right? And 9Thieves being able to execute their draft versus Empyreans was where it is. But we're going to be getting into game 2 here as the drafting phase is ongoing here, Private. Now, I want to see what 9Thieves have into their pocket this round, right? Like, Empyrean is already taking them out before. This is the redemption match. They just came ready for the redemption match, and we've seen it, right? But now we have to watch out. EMP swapped out one of their players, right? Now Ricky's out for Bunny. So I want to see if maybe a sub in or a swap plays a major factor into that.
For me personally, what I see here is I kind of like Empyrean's XP bans. Like I said, it did look like 9Thieves was struggling in that XP lane. Even when they had 3 members down there, it did take them until they had a very firm grasp on a gold lead before they were actually able to push through. So the bans kind of worked in their favor. However, you did leave open the marksman there, Basti, who had absolutely no problem in his lane being able to counter Empyrean's marksman. So I mean, it's a little game of back and forth when it comes to whose lane's gonna win and how quickly will that lane win to be able to provide support for the rest of your team. And we saw that Empyrean losing their lane, it's allowed Basti on 9Thieves to be able to get that tower and immediately rotate to the next tower. Like I said, even though they did kind of struggle taking that EXP lane, it was just, it was how quickly that they were rotating to kind of get that macro up.
Yeah. And you gotta think about it as these teams, right? Like they need to have a strategy in play during this drafting phase, right? Like you can always, you know, build the counter to each hero that's being played, but you still have to have that strategic advantage and knowing with the communication on what you want to do in game, right? And something kind of looking at the draft right now that is still on the playing field is the Uranus, right? Are they gonna bait 9Thieves into picking up the Uranus first, or are they hoping that 9Thieves pick something else first and then they're able to pick Uranus second?
Well, I mean, right now it's been looking like, especially for North America, that XP lane has been a big focus. And when it's not the XP lane, then you kind of counter it out with the mage picks from them. Right now, we still have a Valentina out on the board, as well as, you know, that highly contested Terizla. So, and yep, as right on cue, they go ahead and pick up the Valentina, which is going to allow Empyrean a little bit of, I want to say, a little bit of leeway with 2 picks to hopefully be able to counter and get a strong pick in their avenue. I suspect that they're going to go ahead and pick up the Terizla in that XP lane.
Yeah, I mean, Terizla would be a good go here. And of course, they did ban out the Uranus, right? So Valentina, what do you possibly go against that, right? I mean, there's a few picks that you can go. Axborg definitely left open, wasn't left open last game. Could that be a major factor into EMP's gameplay here? So I want to see right now, but they have to respond to this Valentina, because the Valentina, though situational, can make key plays into strategic gameplay, right? So 9Thieves having that in their pocket is something to watch out for. And then, of course, looking at the Axborg is something to watch out for as well.
Well, it's interesting too because Valentina affects the game indirectly. It's not really about what counters her. It's about what she can take from your team. Right now, I mean, we're not really worried about Appraiser's Wrath because Valentina still gonna need to get some type of stacks from health on to do a lot of damage on it. However, if we're talking about the Xborg's ultimate, you can still do a lot of damage with that. You can still do a lot of CC when you're talking about Kufra's Tyrant's Rage as well. So it's going to be very interesting. I feel like Empyrean's a little loose with what they're picking here against a Valentina. You're giving her a lot of options. So we'll see if that pays off.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see. And sometimes giving Valentina a lot of options is where you want to be at, right? Because if you stay far enough back and you don't give Valentina those options to take, she has to take what she can, right? And sometimes what you can get is not the best ideal here. I do like that the Angela bans out. Again, I don't think maybe a Lance and Angela would have been a combination, but still could have been. She's definitely rocking the scene as support, and they've already picked up their support. So a good go here. Now by 9Thieves, they're really, really squishy on their front lines, right? So they only need a little bit of burst onto EMP to make changes in tides. And from 9Thieves, we need to see some tankiness coming in, right? So that's their standpoint, and I want to know what what's going through their head that they think can be tanky enough to deal with that tankiness from EMP, right? You got the Kufra, you got the Xborg, you got the Fredrin. All of them are the tankiest people in this game.
Well, I mean, this is kind of shades of what we saw in the last game. They didn't exactly have a front line last game, and they were able to really take advantage of that laning phase, get the ganks, find the divine judgment, but you don't have something like that for this game. Oh, and we go ahead and block out the Terizla as well. So that's going to be a very interesting to see what we pick. And yeah, I do agree they might need some tankiness, but right now, where 9Thieves composition is shining is in mobility. It doesn't matter how big of a front line you have. If most of these heroes can just dive to the back of your line anyway, I think the person who's going to have the most problems, I don't even want to say it's Claude, maybe Claude, just because he's going to need a whole early game to get those items before he's going to be able to use that battle mirror image to get to the back line. So it's going to be very interesting. It's going to be a lot is going to be put onto the shoulders of Sanwi here to be able to land these CCs onto the team, to be able to land those ultimates and be able to set the team before they go in.
Yeah, you definitely have to have the CC and control on EMP for them to stop a lot of this this mobility, as you said, right? And to be honest, 9Thieves could opt to go no tankiness and just go, gung-ho, right? And just be a massive glass cannon as a whole team in general. And we'll see if that is the route that they go for. We did see that 9Thieves glue was definitely a menace in the last game. Do they opt to go for that again? And a Diggy. Interesting. So they might not go full gung-ho with damage, but by all means, they have a way to nullify every CC and keep their mobility at the highest peak possible.
This is a very interesting pick because this almost kind of flips the tables onto Empyrean. Yes, you can land a great Tyrant's Revenge onto the team to pop them up and maybe even go for that ultimate. But if you have a Diggy there, you're essentially setting up your team for failure because Diggy's going to be able to get his team out of it, provide them that little bit of shield, and essentially possibly turn around some of these engagements. But I want to say in answer to that, the Faramis being picked up here, his ultimate now, which has been changed from Cult Altar to Netherrealm now. So it's going to be very interesting to see how, if we can counteract that. But I mean, you've already got the Valentina on the enemy side there, so she's going to have another realm of herself.
Yeah, I mean, this could again give Jans more options than they can deal with, right? You'll have to be really situational and strategic about placing with your team on what ultimate you're utilizing. You could either set, or you could either do a lot of damage, or in this case, you could actually be a support in the mid, right? So we'll see. We'll see. Again, though, the tankiness built on top of the Nether Realm, right? That gives them a little bit more viability. They're going to have to go full damage onto 9Thieves. They're going to have to do as much damage as they possibly can and CC in order to stop the combination of this Faramis and the Beatrix.
Yeah, it's interesting too, because I wouldn't have thought a Faramis be a decent pick here, just because you've already got two really big counters out there in the name of Valentina and Claude already out there. So if Claude comes in there with that blazing duet, he's going to be able to burn down that cult altar rather quickly. And then what you've done is basically turn the a Nether Realm ultimate. You've basically turned it into a CC for your team, because you're going to have them stuck reloading from that Nether Realm, and potentially a huge target on your back for the side of 9Thieves. But we're going to see here game 2 to see if Empyrean can go ahead and make this an even series so far.
Yeah, and I mean, again, we do have to take into factor that Empyrean did sub out a player here, so maybe they were just using a sub instead of their main lineup. And I think that maybe that plays into a factor, but 9Thieves already showing the aggression from first game into second game here.
Yeah, you can see Enlightened one's deep into the back line. Koha over there going to go ahead and get a good pull. Jen in a little bit of trouble, down to about 10%. Is that going to be it? Enlightened one picks up the kill. But you can see that Empyrean definitely want to make him pay for it, but not going to be able to, as 9Thieves going to be able to find themselves a great escape. Great start for 9Thieves.
Yeah, and you gotta remember, right? Like, the Faramis is a counter to the glue, so maybe we're seeing EMP lean into the factor that they had a little bit of a problem into the EXP last time against the glue. Why not counter that now? They have that ability. They also have the tankiness, so we'll have to see the combination that they play. It looks like EMP's wanting to show some aggression of their own, getting eyes on the jungle. And
you see that flicker has actually been used by Basti, which is and interesting you bring up the glue point, because I've seen the last little bit of information on Faramis was his ability, his second ability. I forgot what it's called, the ghost plasm or something like that, actually got nerfed a little bit. And I've seen an interesting amount of people who kind of actually pick glue into Faramis's now, or at the very least they're kind of not afraid of that counter anymore. So we'll see if that actually kind of adds up here. Maybe there's something that we don't know. As we can see, Enlightened one doing a great job, going to go ahead and get some great and prime position on this first turtle.
Yeah, and I mean, that has to do with that sustainability. Enlightened one is just a tanky guy in the early stage. Again, 9Thieves getting the first blood, huge first steps for them. And we got to see what they do here. And Enlightened one's punishing the back line as the turtle.
Oh, yeah, we're looking for something on the Koha. Enlightened one's in a little bit of trouble. He's hesitant to use that ultimate. Jeff is going to be able to claim that first turtle. Now they're trying to come in and punish Empyreans. Jeff finds a kill on the Koha. Last Insanity goes off, but a beautiful time journey, able to protect the 9Thieves team from any more damage. A great lead, 2-0 for the side of 9Thieves.
Nah, great lead, and you got to give it up to them, right? Like, they're just holding their own. The sustainability, knowing when to get in and get out is something that we're seeing here, but a Thorn Rose not able to do too much.
Koha's going to be able to, Koha's going to be able to get away from that now. What I want to see is potentially a little bit more cohesion on the side of Empyreans, getting to these lanes, finding a gank, and maybe try to make something happen of their own. Right now, it almost seems like Empyrean is almost always rotating just a little bit later than the side of 9Thieves. We do have a clear wave there. Empyreans here, they have the vision here being provided by Basti is remarkable. There's always a Diggy Bomb in these bushes to kind of give a good early warning to 9Thieves when a gank might be incoming.
Yeah, and kind of building off of what you were saying, right? Like, they're always dealing with rotating into 9Thieves. I think EMP really has to think about counter rotations, right? Stop, like, if you lose one person, okay, right? Like, stop trying to rotate into 9Thieves rotation. Do something of your own and force a play that makes 9Thieves rotate to you. So you're a little bit onto the higher end of the ball here, but Enlightened one just enlightening them.
Yeah, Koha looking for a little bit of damage onto there. We do have that Nether Realm has been activated. Koha gets taken down by Jeff. We have the split, so now the right one is free to come in with that split, finds it onto San, is not going to be able to find a kill, and that is going to be actually 2 kills. Up at the top, you can see 9Thieves chipping away at that tower. 4-3 lead going to 9Thieves.
Yeah, they lost a lot in the mid and the jungle, right? And the roam, but they were able to secure a lot of the gold plating onto the top lane, and now they're going to struggle a little bit here to go for the turtle as their jungle was killed. So that is now leading into the side of EMP. Again, both teams are definitely showing their all here. The gold lead's not too substantial that they couldn't make a comeback. Again, I do feel like the Claude is going to be a problem here, though, for EMP. Kind of already picking up that Demon Hunter sword with a team comp that is tanky that EMP went for. That is going to smell for problems for him. Do they force the Cult, Alter, or the Nether Realm?
Oh, yeah. Jets coming in. Basti picking up the kill onto Koha with one of those diggy bombs. Just be providing a huge amount of just nuisance to the side of Empyreans. You can see the big rotation here from both of them, and it might be looking at a little bit of a lane cut here. Basti in a great position here. Jan's joining him as well, but Bunny, and we have a blazing duet comes in. We miss a pick off by San, and that's going to go ahead and cost him his marksman and possibly a death himself. And 9Thieves go ahead and pick that up cleanly. That's going to be 1 tower for 9Thieves.
And I gotta say, they are on a roll, and their aggression show it, but the retry,
Oh, Jeff maybe overestimating his skills just a bit there, gets picked off by Ken. But the lead still firmly on the side of 9Thieves. 7-4 right now, and Lighten getting shown up here, trying to cut lane, but great job by Jen, just wanting to make sure that he knows that he's not alone here. But this means now he's got minions crashing at his tower.
Yeah, and I mean, again, it's hard to deal with, right? The siege minion's hitting it. EMP needs a response on the Enlighten one. But again, I don't know if there's not much anti-heal picked up, as we can see onto EMP's items here. So again, into the early stage, not having that anti-heal is going to play a big factor into countering the glue. Oh my god.
Yeah, Koha gets taken out of there, rushed in. We have the blazing duet, and a BMI gets Anak back out of harm's way. Great setup there. Is it going to be enough? The time journey able to keep 9Thieves topped up. Down goes Ken. Jeff able to pick up the kill there. Anak has come in, putting on the damage. Machine guns blazing. Bunny James goes down. Next on the chopping block as San, as Enlightened One picks up the kill there. Jen is all alone between 4 members of 9Thieves, and he takes himself a dirt nap. This is going to be a great and clean turtle for the side of 9Thieves.
A dirt nap. They drowned him in the river there, and they're going for another one.
Koha, in a bad way, gets pulled back. Is going to have to use that Nether Realm defensively. He gets stunned down. Is it going to be enough? Jan able to find a kill. Last Insanity and a Nether Realm of their own. Bunny James Ken able to find a kill onto Jan, and they need to get away from this tower right now and call a spade a spade. They aren't able to push on it just right now. Enlightened One's going to have to retreat as well. Good pickup for the side of 9Thieves. It is now 13-6. Jen tries to come in with a flicker. Does look like it might be a little bit wasted there, as Basti's still able to get away.
Yeah, and I mean, you got to give it up to EMP at that point. That was the greatest defense I've seen on a mid turret in a while. I was suspecting that Koha was going to have a trouble there, but again, the team is just showing you that they're not down and out. They're going to try to get back. They do have to watch out for Bunny at this point. The snipes are definitely coming out, and they're playing a key factor into changing some of the tides against 9T here. But again, both sides just going at it. Kind of taking a look at some of the items that we do here. We do have some anti-heal picked up as well. I don't see too much damage coming out. I mean, the Blade of Despair is picked up by Bunny, but I mean, is that going to play a big factor in here as the mid tower is falling? 34 seconds on the next major objective, and EMP, they're still trying to hold the map, right? That is their key advantage that we are seeing. They're able to kind of zone out the map, get some eyes, give out that communication, and change it. But we do see like we have a pause being called here. Let's go ahead and jump back to this caster desk.
The one thing that you brought up is that there was a remarkable defense there for EMP. And I want to say this has kind of been a little bit of a common theme that I've been seeing with 9Thieves. When they get a lot of members together, unless they have a very substantial lead, they can sometimes flounder when it comes to these pushes onto the towers. So like when you saw that mid tower, it's kind of shades of the first game when you had 3 members trying to gank onto Terizla and the XP lane. I want to say they didn't know if they wanted to gank Terizla, try to burst him down, or kind of pick away at the tower. And you kind of saw shades of that here during the mid tower skirmish, where they weren't sure if they should be pushing. They didn't all focus onto one target. You had some squishies there that could have gone. Bunny James, he would have been a great target to kind of be able to focus down before you took that mid tower. But we'll see if they have kind of cleaned up that engagement as we are moving into the 9 minutes and 30-second mark here.
Yeah, and we're getting back into the game as well. The pause has been handled. And again, I think you specified great things that EMP had, right? And now we're going to be coming on to a 5v5 Lord take here. This could make it or break it for either team, right? EMP has to show up. They have to do something, as Enlighten is kind of punishing their back lane. And the zonage is just leaning towards more 9T at this point. Can they do anything?
Yeah, just great job by Enlighten One to go ahead and keep Empyrean's, I want to say, focus split all across the map. We can see a great little line here. The Lord is getting reset. Blazing Duet, the Cult, Altar, just kidding. The Nether Realm has been activated. Enlighten One uses the split, and Bunny James able to pick up the kill, but pays for it. Koha taken down by Anak. Now they are chasing 9Thieves, giving away there, putting into the back line. You can see Sand gets taken out. Another realm of their own as Anak is cleaning house. That is a complete team wipe for the side of 9Thieves, and they have earned themselves a free Lord.
You got to give it up to them. I mean, they baited the Lord. The great communication and the call outs on knowing when to split from the Lord and take advantage of MP overextending. And you got to give it up to Enlighten One, man. I mean, he's just putting on so much pressure on the EMP into that back line. This is the second time the Glue's done that, right? They've done it in the first time, and they've done it in this one. Is that playing a factor into EMP's fall here? And coming with the first Lord, we're going to see such a great lead achieved by 9T.
Yeah, and right now you're at the 11-minute mark and about a 7K gold lead behind. There's not really a team fight that you're going to be able to win. And fortunately for 9Thieves, they're not leaving a lot of windows for Empyrean to catch somebody out. We still have this same kind of engagement type of composition where you have a front line and you're really looking for these good team engagements. But 9Thieves doing such a great job of kind of splitting up the team as we have a Lord marching down to the mid high ground tower. And still another split here as we have focus at the mid and to the top while we have minions kind of crashing in. We're not able to pick up much here from that Lord, but I mean, like I said before, substantial gold lead in favor of 9Thieves right now.
Yeah, one thing we do have to give up to EMP, though, is their defenses are on point most of the time. And that is something that they're going to have to continuously build on top of to change some tides here, right? And that's going to be their key factor into changing and maybe even having a win condition in this match is they have to not overextend at neutral objectives like that and take into factor that there's a lot of bombs in that bush. They have to watch out for a lot of things here again, because we were talking about it before, right? 9Thieves, they're just going gung-ho, dealing enough damage that they want to keep stacking on this gold lead, and if they keep that up, it's going to be a problem for EMP.
I do like this setup here at the purple buff. Ken coming in there, doesn't want them to, he's actually might be in a little bit of trouble here. In comes the set. San, we're still looking for that time journey into the back lines. Anak doing a great job. We do have one kill. Ken activating that immortality. Is it going to be enough? Last Insanity comes in, is not able to find a kill.
Oh my
able
God.
to find the pick up there as well. Thorned Rose comes out, and man, just having such a great time. Basti eats himself a sniper shot. Thank you. May I have another?
He felt that one. When that hit him, he was like, "Oh crap, I gotta back up now." We're being a little too aggressive here. Snipes are coming from the left and right field, and Lighten one overextended a little bit, but I think he has the sustainability that it doesn't even matter. And again, I think that attributes to that we're not seeing too much burst ability by EMP. But again, both teams giving up a good fight. 9Thieves, though, leading 19-7. We can kind of take a look at some items as the next Lord is coming in. Again, we're looking at, my God, a knock is just fed. Look at that 11, almost 12K gold lead onto the marksman alone. Lord going to be falling here, and I don't think EMP has any response to it.
Yeah, Adnock is literally twice the amount of gold of some of the Empyrean members right now. He hurts. Like, usually you guys can sustain a little bit of what Claude brings out as soon as he pops that blazing duet, but not at this level where he has been so fed and has so many levels over your team that as soon as he comes in, you guys are going to need to be able to answer it. I mean, you have the Fredrin there, so as long as you're saving that pop-up, Ken, actually in a little bit way, we have the reverse time that lands onto him is going to be enough. Nether Realm has been activated, maybe a little bit early. A big charge onto the mid-high ground tower. Thorn Rose coming out, and that Phantom Execution to find himself an escape. Jeff is looking for an opportunity to come in here. They're actually doing a great job of bursting down this Lord, down to about 10%. That's another tower up at the top, taken down. Nether Realm has been activated. Anak finds a kill onto the enemy roam. Is that going to be enough? Jams finds the kill onto Jeff. Another Thorn Rose into mid. You can see this tower. The core is down to about half health. Is this last insanity going to be able to protect them? Basil coming in with a Nether Realm of his own, and that's going to be all zero. Look at the damage they're putting onto the core. Game 2 going to 9Thieves.
My gosh. I mean, again, EMP mounting up great defense into this game, just weren't able to defend it to the very end. 9Thieves being really, really aggressive. Once again, a knock with an MVP. They're going to have to respond to this at this point, right? EMP's struggling to handle the gold lane of 9Thieves. And I mean, to be honest, all of 9Thieves is looking really well. The Diggy combination there was amazing. The one thing that you were saying early on is the only thing that could stop them is a lot of CC. Guess what? They got rid of that.
Yes, they did, and it was very interesting to see too. Like I said, it doesn't matter how great of a front line you have, if the entire enemy can basically dive into your back line without worry. And I want to say it kind of stands on to San as well on this Kufra. I mean, we saw a few missed opportunities from him there, and he needs to be that front line for his team. He needs to be able to kind of stop the ability of 9Thieves to be able to kind of dive into his back line. And unfortunately, they were able to find ways around that. And even when they weren't, you had that time journey on the other side to be able to kind of help with that push, help with that charge to get into enemy territory.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, they just kept building upon that, right? And every team fight was definitely leaning into the favor of 9Thieves. And I think that's because EMP they overextended a couple times, right? And you know, 9Thieves punished them for that. So what we need to see from Empyrean is that they need to make a little bit more educated decisions on their initial engagement, right? They have to, you know, we haven't seen them, you know, securing and getting a lot of vision, and I feel like that is something that they need to opt to go for, right? Get the good vision, get the good call outs, make key plays to be able to turn this around. Being a best of 7, this still is anybody's game, but it is currently 2-0, 9Thieves leading here, and I think we'll possibly be going into the next game right now.
From what I've seen, I mean, as far as I'm concerned, a knock is a problem for the side of Empyrean. A great amount of damage, the ability to handle his lane. If I'm on the side of Empyrean, I'm looking for something. Either we're going to have an answer in some bans for him, or we need to start focusing that lane a little bit more. Hell, even giving up the first turtle so that we can go ahead and maybe gank onto that lane to kind of shut down a knock in a way that won't allow him, because he's been scaling so well. He's been a shining star for both of these games for his team. Not to say that I want to say Jath hasn't been. I mean, there's a reason why they banned out a lot of those high micro-intensive assassins like Lancelot last game, because you saw how he was on this one too. He's just absolutely stunning and able to get into the back lane, able to isolate some of those heroes and pick them off one by one.
Yeah, and I mean, when you pick off heroes like this, those are key factors that can change what a team responds with, right? Like, we seen it earlier that EMP was definitely targeting some of the marksmen, and I understand why, right? Like, this might be a time that you pull out the MOBA Zane trick, right? Just ban all the marksmen that you possibly can, because it does seem like EMP is struggling into that gold lane. But I do have to say that they did sub out another person on EMP. Scout is now in, and if I'm not mistaken, Scout is a gold lane main. So maybe this is their answer, right? Continue to sub until we find a break in this wall, a chink in the armor that we can do something about.
I mean, hopefully. I'm not one for kind of ruining the synergy on a team. I feel like when it comes to kind of keeping that cohesiveness, subs can kind of sometimes ruin it. Unless your name is like Knights of Fate, who just everybody can apparently play every role to this great extent. We're gonna see if this works out for them. I mean, there's just a lot of boxes that 9Thieves are able to check when it comes to the successfulness of these teams and these engagements, and especially when we've been talking a lot about the jungler, we've been talking a lot about the marksman, but Enlightened One in that XP lane has been doing a great job. They don't get enough love when it comes to a lot of these engagements because he's doing his job. He's in the back, he's creating some type of disturbance elsewhere, or splitting off the team's, I want to say, focus so that they can go ahead and bait in these lords. So he's been doing such a great job, and I do like that we go ahead and focus on him from the side of Empyreans. You're going to see that glue banned out, but I mean, you still have a lot of these great XP lane picks for him.
Yeah, I mean, EXP, I don't know if it's a major factor into this game, as we're seeing the gold lane being a key factor here, right? But again, the glue is definitely something that was menace in the back lane. But again, Uranus is open. If they can pull off a menace on a glue, they can definitely pull it off on a Uranus at this point. So I think it's the combination of such a great aggressive gold lane and such a great menace in the EXP lane that EMP is struggling here. And they have to find a response to that. Now, seeing the Gaja, or the Kaja pull up it's an interesting take, right? I mean, you can make some key plays, but you're going to have to do this. You're going to have to utilize this. So we'll see if that's going to be the synergy here. And they picked up the quad once again. Maybe they need to, do something about that.
What I do like about the Kaja pickup is that this will force a composition from the side of Empyreans that has been different from what we've been seeing. What we've been seeing has been that thick front line, hoping that these team fights going their direction, but they've been continually picked off. They've been continually aggressed upon. With a Kaja on your side, you're basically switching up your winning conditions here. Now you need to be the aggressive one. You need to be looking for those pickoffs onto the enemy team. Maybe this is the recipe that they need in the early game to kind of help it from snowballing into 9Thieves' favor, as we've seen these last two games go.
Yeah, I'm actually surprised that they didn't pick up the Uranus, and I want to know what they're thinking about, right? I mean, we could either see the Axborg or the Fredrin be flopped and flipped, right? Like, both of them are definitely diverse in their roles. Now, seeing EMP side, they're gonna have to build something here, right? I mean, they got a lot. They got some tankiness to deal with, some burst ability on the 9Thieves, and maybe that's where the Brody comes into play, right? Being able to pick and peel the front line is something that I do think EMP is gonna shine with here. Now, we're gonna have to see how the Uranus is played as well. Like, we're gonna have to see someone be a menace on EMP to 9Thieves.
Well, the Uranus shines when you are taking that early game advantage, when you're cutting the lanes, when you're keeping your stacks up. However, on the flip side of that, when you're cutting lanes and stuff, you're putting yourself into enemy hands potentially. You're potentially allowing them to be able to maybe kind of cart around you, get that flank, especially in the early game. So it's going to be, they need to be very careful on the side of Empyreans if they want to kind of make that successful. If they are able to make it successful, he's going to be a threat when it comes to a lot of these objective fights, but we have yet to see that. I do see, I'm not sure if this is going to be a tank jungler Fredrin for the side of 9Thieves here, but I mean, it'll be interesting to see how these kind of play off in it, but they definitely need a little bit of a answer here for Anak, who has picked up the Claude again. I do like the Brody pick up there. A lot of that burst potential, Brody, Clint, they actually shine against those Claude picks, especially in the early game. And yet to see if, especially if Anak can continue in his dazzling ways to kind of get fed in that early game. I just want to see some focus there.
Oh, exactly. And I was kind of building something up here, right? And I mean, the greatest counter to Claude is a Leslie, and they've already banned that out, right? So again, 9Thieves, they've done their research. They know what they're doing here, right? They're bringing stuff to the playing field and capitalizing on that strategy. But I kind of like this from EMP, right? Now we have the Boxia and the Roam, a lot of diverse, you know, diversity here, mobility. They also have the ability to kill with the Brody as well as the Gordon mid, right? We don't see it too often, but again, it's definitely showing strides in these tournament plays.
What I'm seeing is possibly kind of almost like the same problems that BTK kind of runs into. I'm not sure if EMP have a great assassin user on their team, but they've been consistently picking up some of these tankier jungles, which, I mean, especially against a Claude, especially against a Novaria who can chunk you down from a pretty far distance. And as soon as Claude starts picking up that Demon Hunter sword, it's not going to take many hits for them to be able to burst through you. We can see Boxia. I mean, Boxia shines more against the heavy regen, heavy magic type of compositions here. Well, hopefully his mobility and his ability to get around the map will be able to shine so that they can start putting some pressure onto these side lanes. Yeah,
I'm wondering here, right? Like, I feel like they have a really heavy dive comp on a 9Thieves, so the Gord, the Brody, there's just gonna have to be that viability there to change the fate. But as we're seeing, we're going into game 3 here. 9Thieves versus Empyrean. And again, 9Thieves is 2-0 for Empyrean here. And again, they're going to have to utilize these compositions to make plays to change the tide in the battle here, Private. I just don't know about the Gord pick. I think it's going to be a giant vulnerability on the side of EMP.
It depends on how well they're going to be able to kind of land a lot of these sets. Gord has his obvious flaws. He needs to kind of stick to Bassi actually comes in there, does miss both of his little sets and pop-ups there, so Empyrean's going to be able to walk free. And you can see doing a good job waiting for this Litho Wanderer is Jeff inside the bush. It's going to be a 3-on-3 here. I'm not sure if they realize. In comes Jeff. Are they going to be able to pick up that? Empyrean's going to go ahead, pick up that Litho Wanderer, and they are focused on the Jet. They're going to make him pay for this, down to about 10%. Going to use that dash, trying to get out of it. Is he going to be able to get away? He's a sneeze away. A big flicker from Sands is going to be able to find the kill. First blood going to Empyrean.
Yeah, I mean, that was aggression right there, man. I thought Jet was going to be able to make it out of there, and he didn't. So that was interesting. Empyrean looking very aggressive in this time around, and I want to see how it plays off here. Bottom lane, though.
Bunny James putting on the damage to Aneg. I mean, he's still doing a good job, I want to say, but you can see the level difference already at the 1 minute and 30-minute mark there. So they're doing actually a decent job of putting the pressure onto him, keeping it onto this golden, and that's what I've been wanting to see. A little bit of a stun land. Oh, but a big pick up there. Pop up onto Koha, and he is not long for this world. San unable to do anything but watch his buddy get taken out there.
Ooh, what a snipe. Again, Basti, that was a crazy set, right? I mean, again, the Gord being a little bit too aggressive and being penalized for it. Now we're going to see maybe a difference into the mid lane, but a turtle here. Ratchery!
Yeah, just able to pick up the turtle! Wow, that's got to speak onto the morale of Empyreans. They have the perfect positioning, they have the perfect engagement there, and still, Jeff able to come in there with the clean retribution of the turtle.
I mean, that was again, you could see it leaning towards the side of EMP. They had the position, they had the pizzazz to get it all set up, but the Divine Judgment, not a major play.
Divine Judgment does find it, and in a little bit of trouble, gets taken out by Bunny James. Basti not going to be able to provide his marksman that type of support. Jeff comes in, looking for the taunt, a stun, lands onto him. Bunny James gets taken out. Oh, a nice ultimate there from Jeff, as he's going to go ahead and use that dash to get himself out of harm's way. Appraiser's Wrath cleaning the clock, almost found a second kill there for the side of 9Thieves. It is now tied at 2-2.
Yeah, I mean, 9Thieves striding back into their place, countering the aggression of EMP. EMP, though, you know, this is their time that they wanted to be a little bit more aggressive. And, I mean, they have the kill potential now lined up with the Gord. The Brody definitely showing out at this point. But again, I mean, I think it's all going to be a key factor on seeing which EXP can rotate more, and I feel like that's going to be a big factor into who can you know, change some of the directions of some of these team fights.
Yeah, what I am liking is we have Scout putting the pressure on the XP lane with a great cuts there, and then of course the focus that has been put down onto the marksman lane from 9Thieves. So they're doing what they need to be. They've learned their lessons from the last game. Oh, actually Ken, a little bit of a bad way. Scout gets caught. I'm not sure. Oh God, between two towers, he's gonna be able to find himself an escape with that consecration. Gets out of harm's way. A great little bit of a bait there too, because it did look like they actually had Ken and a great amount of support. Oh, actually Bunny James diving into the bottom lane. Anak doesn't take the stun from Koha. Is going to use that battle mirror image to get himself out of harm's way. However, even with that, it's great focus by the side of Empyreans. They're putting that focus onto the gold lane, and they might be able to actually take a tower. Unfortunately, you can see 9Thieves able to go ahead, take an objective here. Scout in a bad way. It's going to take the full force of that last insanity, chip down to about 10%. Oh, misses the Appraiser's Wrath by a toenail, and still have that regen and those stacks up to go ahead and get himself back to about half health.
He's still going, man. I mean, I thought Scout was gonna go down, but it goes to show you again how much of a menace Uranus is. Scout! Oh my God!
Oh God!
1 HP.
In comes Ken. He's not gonna be able to find the kill on a light one. Look at the bait. He's still in here. Finds a kill.
My
Scout
God.
in a bad way. Appraiser's Rat finds him. Little bit of shield, but Jans with the pick off and snipe from that Novara. Koha in a bad way gets popped up and taken down. That is 3 unanswered kills for the side of 9Thieves. Just when they were starting to get things into their favor. Big Divine Judgment lands on the Basti. Torn apart memories is not going to be able to find the kill.
My God, the micro plays. Oh my God! The snipes by Jans. The micro plays left and right.
Get out of Novaria there. You have to be wary at all times. No tower is safe when she can pick you off from across the map.
Man, you got to give it up to our Enlightened one, man. The dude went from 1 HP to nothing multiple times, even going against the Uranus. Like, was not afraid. 9Thieves showing everything that they have to get this revenge match. They're looking for a sweep here, Private.
Yeah, you can see Scout here on this side. Ooh, might be getting popped up by Basti. He's going to take another pop up there, but I mean, that's a Uranus. You're kind of wasting your abilities there. A big 3v3, 3v4 actually happening up at top as they're getting ready for this next turtle. Looking for a good position. We have the magic gush coming out. Basti's going to activate that ultimate, but it's not going to be enough. Ken finds the kill. Sand in a little bit of trouble, does get picked off by Jet. The Praiser's Wrath comes out, and now the true damage. Look at the last insanity from Enlightened One. Picks up the kill on the Ken. Jeff in a bad way. He's getting chased down by Scout. Are they going to be able to find a kill on here? Oh, Jeff by the hair on his shitty chin, able to find himself and escape. Enlightened One here to try to punish them and ward them away from this fight.
Man, if I have to say, Ian, oh my God! Once again, Private.
Yeah, Jan's able to find another snipe onto Bunny James. He's gonna have PTSD after this match. Not gonna be able to close his eyes unless he checks all the bushes. Another pop-up lands on a Ken. Last Insanity coming on to him, putting on the damage, and that's gonna be all she wrote for EMP's jungler. Scout coming in here is gonna try to put some, he's looking to try to help out at this purple buff. Here comes the Appraiser's Wrath, big pop-up, and taunt. Another pop-up on the Scout. He's gonna go ahead, try to find himself and escape up at top. They are pushing, and another snipe lands onto Sand here at mid.
Sheesh. I mean, it's just fight after fight after fight. If I was EMP at this point, I would be looking for maybe not fights and maybe neutral objectives securing, pushing towers, controlling your lanes, because at this point, the gold lead's not crazy, right? You can make it back from this. And it's gonna lean towards the first Lord being a key factor in it. And I mean, that sometimes comes down to the retribution game here. EMP needs to just kind of sit back and stop playing into the hands of 9Thieves. Look at this. Not sure
yeah,
what
we have
wants.
Scout here getting tag teamed under his tower. Ken coming here for a little bit of support. But I mean, as you're talking about that, you see Jans is 4-0-5, Enlightened One at 3-0-1. So a lot of these kills going on to the right targets who are absolutely dominating the team right now. Gold might not be that big of a difference, but a conceal play here. And we do see that suppression on the base. Old Cyan gonna be able to find a kill there. Anak with that blazing duet, not able to find a kill. He's gonna use that BMI to get himself back out of harm's way. Meanwhile, blue team, EMP loses another turret here.
Yeah, and I mean, EMP, they did get a kill. Now they have to, you know, take some turrets, right? Like, you have 20 seconds until the next Lord. Stop taking fights, and here comes again.
Yeah, Enlightened One coming in with that last insanity. He is not able to go ahead and pick up that purple buff, but Ken just narrowly passed that pixel bush over there, but he didn't check it. So that left his team open for another engagement here by the side of Enlightened One. Anak comes in, finds a kill on the Ken. Another snipe for Jans, this time onto Sands. She is he is 5-0-6 right now. Magic Gush comes out. Enlightened One is not taken out. He still has that immortality on him, but 4 members now surrounding this Lord.
Yeah, and I mean, the snipes, it's 1, 2, 3 Jans just absolutely dominating the field, just taking advantage of a lot of the low HP heroes on EMP. And again, Lord is now leaning into 9Thieves' favor, right? What we need to see from EMP is a solid defense. Once again, we'll have to see what they do to change this tide. And a Lighten kind of low, but the Exborg is again a menace to society for EMP at this point. What can they do to turn this around?
Already Jans is getting chunked down, or is chunking down Sandwy. Enlightened One putting on the damage. Ooh. Just narrowly sidesteps that ability by Ken. Jeff takes the kill at the mid lane. This is going to allow his team some time to be able to clear out that mid tower. And Enlightened One comes in with a last insanity, finds himself a kill while Benny James goes down to another snipe from Navaria. The rest of EMP doing their job, trying to get away from these towers. Ooh, another snipe goes on. Is not going to be just enough to take down Ken, but Scout actually in a bad way here. He has already activated that consecration, and that that's going to be all she wrote. 4-16 for 9Thieves right now. Lord crashing down at the bottom. Ken in a bad way. Last Insanity locked onto his position and finds a kill. God. Still crashing away. 3 more Empyrean members come back from the grave, trying to put on a damage. A flicker from Jans is going to be able to get him away from that magic gush of Koa.
Yeah, and I mean, again, 9Thieves took advantage of this Lord being able to crack into 2 of the base tier 3 turrets is great play by 9Thieves. Again, it's a 4-17 lead here for 9Thieves. If I was EMP, this is the moment that you just have to sit back and think. Stop taking fights. Stop taking fights. You know, you're not winning them. It's 4-17. The kill difference is for a reason. And it could come down to that they have to make some of those key plays to take a pick on the left and right lane. And again, I mean, this could come down to some of the key items. As we can see, Brody has 2 of the key items. I mean, there's a 3K gold difference almost in gold lanes. Don't even want to talk about the mid here as we see more engages happening.
Yeah, Ken in a bad way gets taken down, but I just took a look at those gold. 2 members of 9Thieves have a 3K gold lead. Not 3K total, 3K per member of 9Thieves over their opponents here. And that's just great gold management there and farming ability when it comes to these team fights. They are just not letting up, and already the entire team has a 10K gold lead. There's not much that Empyrean can do here, mostly because they're an engagement and a pick-off type of composition. Once you start getting behind, you're on the back foot. You're waiting for the enemy to make a mistake so that hopefully Sand can come in with that divine judgment on that Kaja to be able to find somebody and pull it back into the lane. Hopefully. Man. But if you're playing a tight game here, as 9Thieves is, I mean, it's going to be very few and far between where you have a window. Like right there, we have a nice little gang onto light one. Is that going to be enough? We have the last Insanity. Cleans up 2 of them. Sand goes down, and the rest of the members coming in here. Magic Gush is not able to find a kill. It is a 4v5 as the rest of 9Thieves are pressing onto the enemy core. You could see Adek trying to put some damage onto it. They don't have minions yet here. Oh, Basti in a bad way. Ken comes in looking for an opportunity. Another last Insanity finds a kill onto Bunny James. That's a huge cut into their damage. Down to 10% is the core. Ken trying to find himself a kill. Jans finds a kill onto Scout, and that's going to be another core. 3 games for 9Thieves.
My gosh. I mean, both teams definitely giving it their all, though it is looking very micro-heavied, leaning towards 9Thieves at this point. Every engagement by 9Thieves has been amazing. Though Knock not getting MVP this time around, I kind of, Jans and Enlighted One both showed out at that time, but I think I might actually give MVP to a Enlightened One, even though Jans definitely hit a lot of key snipes. What do you think, Private?
I like the snipes from Jans. It's honestly kind of a cut for me. I'm always going to be super biased when it comes to XP laners because I feel like they don't get enough love. And North America has just an absurd amount of really great XP laners. So I might even go with that because, I mean, how much skill does it take to sit in the back and snipe people? No, I'm just kidding. It's but like I do like it when XP is. I mean, he had 11.0, did a great job. Those last Insanities were right on point. Unfortunately for Empyrean, they are just having a rough go of it. The early game looked good for them. They had a solid plan. They were focusing on the gold lane. They were holding down Anok, and the XP lane wasn't having a problem. They were even cutting lane, and they were doing well. It's just that when that focus got turned to the XP lane, once the side of 9Thieves got just a tiny bit of a lead, they took that and they ran with it. And they kept kind of tightening that noose around the throats of Empyrean, and they never had an opportunity to get back. It was snipe after last Insanity, after snipe, after last Insanity. And they just couldn't find any type of wiggle room after that initial engagement.
Yeah, and I want to say 9Thieves have been picking up a lot of key heroes in these drafts, but so has an Empyrean, and it kind of, you know, building upon what you said, right? Like the Axborg, the Navaria. It was just like snipe, Last Insanity. Somehow Last Insanity came once again, right? Like it was back and forth, back and forth. And one thing that I do have to say is 9Thieves knew how to disengage and then re-engage. And I think that is what's setting them apart from Empyrean at this point, right? Empyrean, they're really like gung-ho. They engage, but they just don't know, or they don't know their ability of how to disengage. They're always losing their life instead of properly disengaging. So I want to see if there's something that they learned in this match, maybe properly disengaging, you know, those micro plays, making it out with 1 HP multiple times is not what you want to let 9Thieves do, right? So a couple of those key things have to come into play. I wouldn't say the drafting on both sides look really well. I definitely think it's coming down to the micro and the macro plays by both sides here.
I'm actually surprised I don't see another sub out here for Empyrean, because I'm not gonna lie, that might not be helping things either, where you've got people kind of rotating positions, trying to build around possibly a weak point where you don't have as much synergy playing with the same people there. But I mean, we said before, Empyrean took a win over 9Thieves, and apparently 9Thieves took that to heart and didn't want to make the same mistakes that they made in NACT, and they are proving it here in this tournament, having a great showing thus far. All the members, I can say, have been performing excellently. Like I said, if there's little things that you can try to take advantage of on the side of Empyrean, it's some of that pushing power. It does seem like 9Thieves sometimes get a little what's the word, a little complacent when it comes to some of these pushes. However, I mean, Empyreans, they're getting caught rotating, their target focus when it comes to a lot of these fights is sometimes off. It's going to take a lot. Hopefully they can figure out a plan here into the next game. This possibly this is the final match point. This is game time for Empyreans to put up or shut up here in the possibly last match of the series.
Yeah, I mean, being match point here, leaning towards 9T, we're gonna have to let's see what they can do here, right? You know, EMP, they're going to have to pull out all their stops. Now, kind of building off of what we've seen before, some win conditions is that, I mean, I thought they needed to stop the gold lane, but it just seems like all of 9Thieves are well-rounded and diverse in their area. So I think it's going to be counter to, you know, counter banning and counter picking at this point. We're going to have to see a lot of the weaknesses pulled pulled towards EMP in favor of them against 9T. So if they can catch some counters, it looks like they're possibly attempting to go for Claude once again. And this is something teams have to look out for, right? Banning the Leslie. Though Leslie is a great marksman and is probably a good ban, you got to think about where they're attempting to go for it, right? Do they pick out the Claude again? Because we are seeing EMP leaning a lot towards those tankier heroes. And that goes to show you, right, that EMP might be, like you were saying earlier, that BTK falls into. They're more utility and not too much, viability into getting those quick plays, getting those assassins on the playing field. Having too much utility sometimes is not a good thing.
Well, and that's kind of where those compositions, where a tanky jungler composition lacks, especially when it comes to those ganks in the side lane. Yeah, you can put out CC, but you're very slow, you're very immobile, so there's a possibility that they can see you coming. And you're gonna have to have some great positioning, maybe some people even in the back of the tower. I'm not sure if the draft was awful for the side of Empyreans. I feel like it's the actual execution of some of these compositions. The last match, I want to say it didn't seem bad for Empyreans. They had a great, I want to say, plan going in there. They put the focus where it needed to be. It's just when it came time for the ganks, they just were not fast enough on the dial to be able to pull those switches and be able to gank faster than their opponents, or they were unsuccessful in some of these ganks as well. So that's going to be a big part of a lot of these compositions too, is you need to be able to execute under the tower or get those ganks or make them pay for some of these turtles.
And now EMP's pulling off something good here, right? Private. They picked up the Claude into Leslie being banned. Right now Bunny's gonna have a little bit more of an advantage coming around, but I do think that 9T is gonna pull kind of something that they were dealing with last time, right? The Claude, ANAC was having a really hard time with the Brody pick, so they're thinking about it, right? Like, I had a hard time with Brody. He was keeping me at bay. What can we do to make this Claude stay at bay as well, right? So I think that's their train of thought right here by 9Thieves. And that kind of goes to show you that they're not going to be maybe relying too much on a knock on this game. And they might, again, be relying on Jans pulling out the Valentina, a very good utility, but again, not too much utility that it's hurting your team, right?
Yeah, it's I want to say he's supposed to be a good pick against Claude. Unfortunately, like I said, last game, they were doing well in the laning phase. It's just that when these ganks came, Bunny James on the Brody was just getting overwhelmed and early, and then they just never ended up getting any breathing rooms. Now here, you're going to have a Brody at the very start of this game. You're going to have problems on this Claude, and which is going to mean even more resources from Empyrean that are going to need to be dedicated to that lane to make sure that he gets fed. We'll see how that goes out here. I mean, Terizla, a great pick. It's been basically the eternal war here for this XP lane when it comes to Terizla versus Uranus.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, we've seen Enlighten one play every sustainable hero in the game so far in the EXP and excel at it. Now, Scout did a really great job on the Uranus, but again, we need to see some burst ability from the side of EMP. We need someone that has severe damage, and we're going to see what they maybe go for here. I mean, of course, the Fredrin has that damage, but again, it's only a utility, and you're looking at 9Thieves know that, right? They've clearly built up a game plan to deal with insane utility, and seeing a Fredrin there, it's like, okay, now they know that either the Fredrin could be flexed or not, but I think they already know that it is going to be flexed. So they could go for maybe a Lance. No, Lance is already banned. They could go for a Ling here if they want to pull out an Assassin. They are very comfortable at this point. Someone that can definitely catch the Claude off guard would be a Ling here. Do they have that in their hero pool, though?
Yeah, and the interesting thing here is it's kind of okay, I was about to say, like, what we're looking for right now for the side of Empyrean is you need something early game, something that's going to be able to kind of carry you into the late game. It's going to allow Uranus to get those stacks. It's going to allow Claude to get those items that he needs. And that's not going to be Fredrin. He's got the CC on his side, but he's not going to have that take you out of the game type of damage. So we're going to see how well this goes. You're going to pick possibly a Chang'e when there is no Roam picked up by 9Thieves, especially no Lolita picked up yet. Okay, I was about to say, like, that would be just basically picking up the Chang'e would be like an immediate sign to me to pick up Lolita to counter that.
I mean, this Ling right here would be into a Farja, it's just going to be a field day for Ling at this point. If Jet does pick this up, I see it being a major problem, right? Because, like, how is a Fredrin? How is a Uranus? How are any of these heroes going to catch a Ling at this point? And even a Claude can possibly put enough damage onto a Ling, but we'll see how it goes. Because I do feel like they might go for it here. A Grok, an interesting pick. We've definitely seen it in the roam. Something that I don't see played very well, though, most of the time, are Groks. You know, utility, it is great, but the overall hero hasn't performed really well in stats-wise. So again, it is the certain player playing it, and we have seen Basti actually be a pretty good roam. So is this the end of EMP because of them running right into a Ling? I mean, that there's two people is going to be just absolutely fed upon.
The only thing that I would possibly go for here, well, I mean, there's a few things.
There we go.
Okay, we got a Franco out there. I was about to say, you want some type of a silence or a way to latch on to Ling when he comes in. You have the Franco, Kaja's already banned out. Possibly you might even have a Diggy who can go ahead, throw down that time journey, and then a reverse time onto Ling so that he can't go ahead and Finch pose away. The Franco, I like the pick. It's just going to be very interesting because if you grab somebody, if you hook somebody from the enemy team, you're looking at a penalty zone coming in. You're looking at a wild charge coming in at your team. You're almost setting your team up for failure unless they're completely spread out and away from this suppression of the Franco. It's going to be game 4 here. This hopefully decides if Empyrean can kind of stay in and has the staying power for this the grand finals here. Game point potentially here for 9Thieves.
Yeah, 9Thieves being able to have game point here. They're feeling comfortable at this point, right? Like they're able to, you know, make some key plays, do some key heroes that we'll see if it makes a major factor into what's going on, right? And I feel like that it's going to really rely on the Farja, right? We are looking like we're going into a pause here as one of the teams requested it. So we're going to be going back to the casters here. Again, I do think that it's going to be coming down to the Farja here, Private, right? And not only that, we have a Franco in play. So can the Franco capitalize on his bloody hunt and hunt down that Ling? Because the Ling is going to be, if fed well, going to be a nuisance.
Well, it's going to come down to, I mean, I do like the Farja. It will come down to are we going to go ahead and be able to get those early rotations? Is Sam going to be able to land those hooks to kind of punish some of these side lanes in those rotations as well? As we'll see here as we start in here. Opening seconds of the game. Pause is over, and both teams getting ready, going ahead and picking apart their jungles.
Yeah, and I'm, again, maybe something for EMP is that they're going to just have to play heavy aggressive, right? Winning conditions. Invade the blue as much as physically possible. You know, stop the Ling from being able to farm and to get to that level that's going to be an absolute nuisance to some of the Claude, to the Farja here. But Jan's putting on a lot of pressure. We're gonna have to see. It's gonna be a farming battle here on who can decide who makes that play, right, Private?
Yeah, really interesting is the side of 9Thieves already stole some jungle from the side of Empyrean, which means that Fredrin's not going to have this level 4 as soon as he wants up in this top lane. So we're not going to really even have a great gank potential from him. A little bit of a focus coming down here to the bottom here, but Anak senses it. You can see how well he's kind of pushing himself onto the opposite side of his tower, make sure he has good spacing between him and any of these possible gank bushes.
Yeah, and I think that comes down to the communication, right? Like, just like, he knew, and you just have to communicate between your team members and know the zonage, right? Like, look at the zonage by 9T at this point. They're anticipating a possible gank. They're not sure what they want to go for, but they're going for Scout.
Oh, yeah. 4 members land on the Scout's shoulders, able to make quick work of him. That sets up this first turtle. And already on the opposite side of the map. And that's the thing, too, is you have your roam for the side of Empyrean on the opposite side of the map, but we didn't make anything happen. In fact, we're all kind of coming to this rotation a little late. Hook lands on the Jans. A penalty zone comes on, and the big damage from the feathered airstrike is not going to be enough to save Ken. We have the wild charge coming out. Bounty James gets taken down as well, and Sanji, or Asan, is taken down to 4 kills total for the side of 9Thieves in the opening engagement.
Yeah, and I mean, even a solo kill under the gold lane, huge, right? That's going to set the steps for a knockdown here to kind of just do what he wants. And look at the gold just being shredded off the plating right there. Now, kind of looking at some of the first items picked up here, we are looking at only 1 steel leggings picked up by the Uranus at this point, which is quite interesting to see, as Claude hasn't picked up the steel platings against a Brody at this point. Interesting play. Blade of Hep already picked up by a knock there, and I feel like that played probably a major role into the solo kill that he was able to achieve onto Bunny right there. And I mean, now we're dealing with a 4-0 situation here. Gold's huge. I don't know what's happening to EMP, but 9Thieves team comps and their ability to initiate and kill is just so much better than EMP at this point. And it's kind of hard for them to grasp at anything. And I think that's a tribute to that 9Thieves just doesn't give them room. And any mistake, they capitalize on.
Bunny James is going to have to use that BMI to get out of harm's way. We have another feathered airstrike coming down for both teams here. On the backside, Ken trying to put the flank on the Jeff, who's going to be able to find himself an escape with some of those dashes, but not before a little bit of a couple of slaps coming out there for the big hook lands. Do we have a suppression? We do, but Jan's still able to get away. Just not enough. Maybe Empyrean not on the same team.
Get it.
He's gonna get taken down into the back lane. Jeff Cutie finding the kill there. Here comes Scout, gonna try to make him pay for it.
My gosh. And you gotta give it up to 9Thieves at that point, right? Like, Jet was baiting that whole time, trying to force them to make a play. Jan's getting caught by a hook. Something that they utilized to their advantage, you know, and took care of the Farja, and they're just going to be invading nonstop. Scout.
Yeah, Scout in trouble here again. A wrong way in between 4 members of 9Thieves. Meanwhile, off screen, Bunny James finds a kill onto Anak. So maybe a little bit of life still left on the side of Empyrean. Come in, a wall does go wide of Bunny James. Here comes another feathered airstrike. IMU from Jans on this for the side of 9Thieves. Meanwhile, we can see that a turtle being picked up for the side of 9Thieves as well.
Yeah. And again, I mean, that is their ability to take a kill here. EMP, get a little bit of breathing room at this point. That's what they need. They need to, now, something hard, a hook, great hook. Is it going to be a bloody hunt?
Suppression lands, but it takes at least 3 seconds for the rest of Empyrean to close in on that location. Here comes the Appraiser's Wrath, and Lightning One still able to get away. In comes Jeff, gets a hook for his efforts, and down comes the ultimate Basti coming in deep into enemy territory, and Scout looking for the flanking position, but Empyrean not in a great position to take advantage of it. Anak still putting on the damage to the enemy. Man, this is, like I said, you land these great hooks, but it's if your whole team is not in a position or just a too late. Oh, here comes another hook onto Jans. Is that going to be enough? A flicker and able to find a kill for 9Thieves. Scout looking to get out of the way, taken down by Act. Torn apart memories, finishes him off, and now Empyrean is in the fray. Appraiser's Wrath comes out, hook goes wide, a wall traps them on the wrong side, and Light One picking up a kill on to San.
Yeah, and I was going to give it to EMP on their ability to get in and disengage there in that last fight, but then we ended up seeing this fight, right? Like, and it still fell towards 9Thieves at this point. We just need to see a little bit more cohesion by EMP on these team fights. The feathered airstrikes definitely have been making a killer impact for EMP, but again, Jet is just able to capitalize and hunt down that Farja, and Tempest Blade.
Oh yeah, Tempest Blades comes down. Jet looking for an opportunity. Basti picks up the kill on the Sand. Big fight has broken up. Can't even get off the Appraiser's Wrath before Anak finishes him off. And that's going to be a free turtle for the side of 9Thieves. Koha in a bad way does use that feathered airstrike too early. Chance counters with one of their own. Scout is alone on the wrong side of a tower, and 4 members. Yep, you can see Buddy comes in, gets taken out for his efforts, and now Scout is alone against 5 members of 9Thieves. Enlightened One comes in, heading up the front line here as Empyrean's going to go ahead try to protect this next tower.
Yeah, and I mean, again, I'm so surprised that EMP is going for it once again. It's going to get blue.
Ooh, big hook does a land suppression on to them. Can we go ahead, find the kill? Conceal play comes in. Sam's gonna have to use that flicker. Get out of the way, Koha. Ooh, just narrowly gets out of a dodge before they can go ahead and finish the job on him. 14-2 right now. Favor going to 9Thieves.
Yeah, I mean, they're just executing things so well right now. And I gotta attribute it to, you know, the Ling play. I mean, Enlightened One, they keep catching all these players off guard, and there's nothing that EMP can do for it. It does seem like EMP is kind of just like all over the map at this point, and 9Thieves is engaging when they want to, and EMP's having a hard time deciding on when to counter that engage or do something as the bait's coming. Look at this.
Oh, man, see, they didn't even check this bush, and now they're paying for it as San, in a bad way, gonna have to try to get out of there. A wall blocks his escape. Another stun onto Koha, finds a kill onto the enemy mage, and that brings the lead to a startling 16 kills to 2.
That was a great play again, and I don't know if Scouts is going to be able to defend this turret, as they're going to keep pushing. 16-2, it's just a really hard area for EMP to come back at this point. Can they break into a tier 3 at this point? Not quite sure. We'll see. And it's going to be rough. It's going to be rough for EMP. The gold lead is about 10k already. The first Lord is coming up. If they can possibly get a steal here, I think this is their grasping breath that they could possibly take, but it doesn't look like they're going to contest this Lord.
I mean, you're at 9-minute mark and you're already at a 10k deficit. We do see a hook lands, but that's on the Basti, a tank. Ooh, actually, now San actually might be in some trouble. Blades coming down, pops him up, feather airstrike trying to secure and escape for him. Here comes the suppression, and Lightwood picks up the kill. Anak finds a kill onto the enemy marksman. Kohat finds a kill onto Ling, and that is going to be a 1-for-2 trade, but the Lord going over ultimately to 9Thieves. Oh, and now here, Scout in a bad way, trying to protect this tower before it's only high grounds left. IMU from Jans with that feathered airstrike and a wings by wings from Koha. He's trying off the map right now, trying to get away from the enemy.
Yeah, they don't know, and it's a good call to not go for the Uranus at this point. It's not worth chasing them down, but oh my god.
Big wild charge there lands, and now we're starting to get onto this high ground tower. Immortality has been activated for Enlightened One. He's trying to escape while Anna coming in, puts the damage and takes down the Scout. That big boy burst damage that he's able to do, doesn't matter if Uranus can take a whole bunch of hits, if each hit is just such a powerful blow as a Brody can put out.
Yeah, it was a great defense. I like the defense by EMP. They didn't get their base cracked into just yet. And I mean, that's something you want to see. But again, we're at the 12-minute mark. Everybody on 9Thieves is probably hitting major power spikes at this point with the gold lead. And again, I mean, we can look at the Claude 6700K versus 82. A good lead. Jungler versus jungler, 96-59. Whew! I mean, the jungle, the Ling's living up to his reputation of being the fastest jungler in the game, and a conceal play.
Yeah, and we're talking about a 4K 3-level lead for the Ling right now. Jet's coming in, Tempest of Blades comes out, he's going to use it to escape. Anak finds the kill on to the enemy. Feather Airstrike going to go ahead and ward away the rest of 9Thieves, but they just have a commanding lead here. They can pretty much engage at any time, and that is what they are doing. Enlightened One comes in, locking on to Sans Franco. Jet's coming up to the top, looking for an opportunity, but just going to stay there, perched up. Jans throws down its Feathered Airstrike at great positioning here in between both towers, so you have double the pressure coming from that ability.
Yeah, and it was actually a pretty ballsy play by T9 to go for that, right? And I mean, They were able to secure a kill on the gold lane, but at this point, you don't even need kills. It's just coming down to, can they end the game earlier than what is suspected? Do they need another Lord? And I do think they need another Lord to take out EP or EMP here. So we'll see. We'll see. I mean, red buff being contested, but definitely going to be leaning towards Ken. The retry wasn't utilized, still available for the next Lord. Can they contest it?
Yeah, they have to make something happen here, but do have a hook that lands, but that's a tank. Are they gonna be able to take it down? They do. Koha finds the damage, but that was a large, that is 2 ultimates down for the side of Empyreans before this turtle or this Lord. And now that leaves it open for the side of 9Thieves to pick it up without contest.
My God. Crazy, right? Like, they were able to get a kill, but nothing, they couldn't make anything out of it. Being at the tank, they still weren't able to contest and put pressure on the Lord. Now, this is the time that they have to mount the best defense of their life here. And you can see they're kind of setting up for it. Control the lanes. The lanes aren't too synced just yet, but I do think they're working on it. It does look like Enlightened one pushing a little bit too early, so I do think EMP might be able to control and defend here, and we might see another Lord coming down.
Yeah, you can see lanes, they're hoping to sync it up, but now you've got 2 edge lanes kind of pushing. Lord is coming through mid. A nice little pressure here. I do like these lanes have been kind of synced up. Now you have 3 avenues of pressure for the side of Empyrean. Lord is going to make short work of the mid high ground tower. Lord, oh, I like that wall, is going to go ahead and shift the Lord's focus over to this bottom tower as well. Conceal play is out. Hook just goes wide. In comes Ling, not throwing out that Tempest Blade just yet. Feathered airstrike coming down. Jeff into the back line. Ken with an Appraiser's Wrath finds a kill, but Jan finishes him off. A big hook with a flicker is going to go ahead and activate Enlightened One's immortality, but he's gonna find a flicker to get himself out of harm's way. Does Bunny James want to dive deep into the back line? Here comes the Tempest of Blades. That's gonna make short work of the enemy's clock and not able to make, they are able to make him pay. Koha finds a kill. That's actually, I want to say, the worst we've actually seen here from the side of 9Thieves as they take 3 deaths for that push.
Yeah, you got to give it up to the hooks here, right? San, just dude, that was such a clutch play. That hook definitely changed the tide for EMP. Now they have to make something out of that, right? Like, they were able to defend the base, but that's with the help of your turrets. Now do something. You got breathing room. You're looking at a 15-minute mark. The gold lead is still substantial. And now you have to make key plays to reduce that gold lead that they do have on to 9T. So if they can do that, we might see a little bit of a turnaround here as we see mid tower almost falling here, Private. EMP, they're going to have to defend or take a Lord here to get even more breathing room now.
Well, unfortunately, they're not going to be winning any team fights right now. Still about a 9K gold lead for the side of 9Thieves. What you want is to land a lucky hook, be able to kind of burst that person down, maybe try to even the odds. At this point, you almost need to land 2 hooks to be able to kind of even the odds for a good team fight. You see, Basti isn't even afraid to kind of check those bushes. He wants to bait out these abilities. And this is exactly the job that Enlightened One was doing in the first 2 games, where he was basically zoning out the enemy before this Lords were taken. And that allows Jeff a great opportunity, as now he comes diving in looking for a window, not able to find it. Still up in that Finch pose. Scout getting low, half health, and yeah, they're being very patient here. They just got the Lord, so they're going to have some time. What they're going to want to do now is go ahead, sync up these lanes, and make sure that there's more pressure so they can take down this last tower on the top of Empyrean's base.
Yeah, I felt like 9Thieves was definitely getting greedy there. I thought they were going to, not wait for the Lord, get out of that. And they were just trying to feel comfortable at this point. They're making mistakes because they feel comfortable. But now they do have a Lord coming in. The lanes look fairly synced. So I think it's going to come down to now another great defense. Can they get a team wipe on to 9Thieves?
Yeah, we have the Feathered Airstrike coming in. Basti with a great wild charge to stop the Feathered Airstrike. Ken in a bad way. Appraiser's Wrath doesn't even go off. A great ability there from Enlightened One is going to use that ability to go ahead and freeze himself out. And we have a clean sweep for 9Thieves here, taking the grand finals over Empyrean.
My gosh, Private, congrats to 9Thieves winning the tournament here, a best of 7, and they came ready, everybody showing out. I kind of got to give it up to, you know, Enlightened One here. Jan's Enlightened One, they were definitely showing out in the last game. They showed out both in this game, very close, you know, and it's hard to give an overall MVP to either one of these players because I feel like 9Thieves came really polished to this tournament, and they got their revenge on EMP in the small community tournament.
Yeah, I mean, Anak had a great showing. I want to say probably one of the more consistent members throughout all of the games. Didn't get MVP for the last 2, but I mean, still 9, 2, and 7 right here. Not too shabby for the marksman. A great shining point for the team. Unfortunately, very enthusiastically able to punish Empyrean for a lot of these little mistakes we saw, whether they were rotating and not checking all of the bushes, or they landed a hook and the team didn't collapse immediately. It's those little things that kind of separate you from the highest tier of players here in North America to still having a lot to learn and a lot to pick up and a lot of room to grow when it comes to a lot of these matches.
Oh no, 100%. And we got to give it up. I mean, I liked EMP they have some areas that they have to work on. 9Thieves look like they did their research, came prepared, and EMP was subbing in and out left and right. Kind of, I don't know if that caused some problems in their lineup, but you could definitely see that they were just falling into the hands of 9Thieves. Both teams showed out really well. Congrats to 9T on winning that here. We're going to be coming back to the caster desk here. Now, everybody, congrats. If you guys just now tuning in, well, 9Thieves won. And this is the grand finals of the 9T tournament. Again, I'm G the Aiko. This is Private here. Do you have any last words, Private?
I just want to thank MoonPie and the rest of the 9T organizers for giving me the opportunity to come out here and cast. I do love these community tournaments and being able to kind of help out. That's where I got my start, and hopefully a lot of start for other people as well. It's a great opportunity for all of these competitors here and teams to kind of get a little bit more practice, a little bit more grinding their sword, so to speak, against other great teams here in North America.